What's going on, guys, ladies and gentlemen? I know not much warning here on this, but it is what it is. We have to get this information out there because the last time the market dropped 9.5% in 2 days, the Federal Reserve unleashed a multi-trillion-dollar bailout on the economy, including $500 billion in QE, $1 trillion in daily repos to the banks, and tens of billions in junk bond ETF purchases. This is the biggest 2-day drop we have seen since the crash of 2020, plain and simple. And it is absolutely massive, and I am here for it, my friends. We have taken out a lot of puts on the SPY and other relative commodities. This is a black swan, baby, says Dream Bite, with no bailouts, and it sure seems like that's the case so far. The S&P 500 is now down almost 6% on the day and is only 1% away from a 15-minute trading halt. If a halt does not occur if a halt has not occurred by now, which is now 3:28 p.m. Eastern time, there is no halt mechanism into the close. So as of right now, there's about 32 minutes left in the S&P 500, and if there is no halt up until now, there will not be one until the market closes. So we could see a 6, 7, 8, 10% drop in the S&P, 13% drop, because the market mechanics do not allow for a halt right now. So it is currently down about 5.5%. It was down 5.91% at one point. And I'm actually surprised more people don't realize this, but Gamestop is one of the only stocks on the entire market that's actually green today. That's right, Daniel. Daniel Delaney says GME is the only thing green today. Why? Oh, my friend, that's because it is not currently moving with the S&P 500. The stocks that are being sold off very heavily are the blue chip babies, the MAG7, that the hedge funds out there like old Kenny Boy and old Liquidity Fairy Dougie have been holding up and propping up for so long are now being fire sold. A lot of these blue chip stocks are being, had to turn off alarm there. A lot of these blue chips are being fire sold right now in order for these guys to maintain their margin positions, to maintain their short positions. You got to keep that in mind. They're not long on GameStop and AMC in the same way that they are shorting them. They're massively shorting those companies. But right now we're seeing massive drops in the 10-year yield, and it's because people are buying U.S. government debt. Donald Trump and U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent are not worried about the stock market. They are crashing the stock market on purpose. And so far, over $9.6 trillion has been lost on the stock market in the last few weeks here, because they are purposely trying to crash the equities markets in order to bring down the 10-year Treasury yield. It's because people are buying U.S. government debt and not selling it. And so the increased demand drives up prices and sends the yields down. Now, when the 10-year yield drops, borrowing becomes much, much cheaper. Borrowing costs in the economy go down, mortgages get cheaper, business loans get cheaper, personal credit lines, etc. And that'll ease pressure on everything from the housing market to the credit markets. So again, right now, with the 10-year being around 4.0%, which is the lowest we've seen in a long time, thanks to Trump undoing a lot of the free money that Biden implemented. Without a Federal Reserve cut or triggering a recession, economists will be writing these books for decades. They will get it below 3.5% soon, but for now it's at 4%, which means that the 30-year mortgage rate has dropped to about 6.5% on average right now. So a little bit earlier today, not long ago, President Trump said that the Federal Reserve Chair Powell is always late to cut interest rates. Always. And we know this is true because the market crashes usually happen after the Fed pivot. And that's exactly what we've seen now. The Fed started their pivot, and now we're starting to see the market crashes. But President Trump said, quote, Fed Chair Powell is always late to cut rates. Cut interest rates, Jerome, and stop playing politics, end quote. And Jerome Powell came out and he said that it is, quote, too soon to determine the appropriate policy path, end quote. So they are publicly fighting right now about interest rate cuts. Donald Trump understands that it is a good move to cut interest rates. And a lot of people don't seem to understand that they believe what the mainstream media is telling them. And the mainstream media is telling people that tariffs are inflationary. But the reality of the fact is that more companies are creating jobs in the United States. GM just announced thousands of more jobs at their new plants. Hyundai did the same. A lot of companies are coming in from overseas. And the reality is that even if in the very short term, the very, very short term, some prices do go up, in the long term, in the mid to long term, in the several months and in the coming years, prices are going to be coming down much more dramatically than they would otherwise, because tariffs are deflationary. We have seen people like Chuck Schumer say this years back when they were pushing for tariffs. We've seen Nancy Pelosi say this. We have seen Jim Cramer say this. But now that the shoe's on the other foot and the Democrats don't want these tariffs to take place, well, now all of these people are claiming that tariffs are going to raise prices for everything. Do not believe the crap that you hear on the mainstream media. The same people that are bought out by the deep state and the globalists. They have a vested interest in keeping jobs outside of the United States. Yes, Oregon Wild Boy says a great point. Short-term pain for long-term gains. You are absolutely correct, my friend. Tyler, Keenan, C. Cyrus, Mama Bear, ladies and gentlemen, it's great to see you. Tony says, finally, that black swan appears in the effing sky. We're going to be so freaking rich. Yes, GME is the stock market right now, as if you're bullish, as a matter of fact. Yes, in case you guys are wondering, I am short the SPY. I am short SLV in the short term. Again, I understand that when the markets come down, SLV tends to move along with it. And then if there's a situation where margin calls occur, then it can go in the opposite direction. I am long the call on companies like Gamestop and AMC, and I am a strong believer and holder that these stocks sometimes run with the market, most of the time. But when they don't, which is during times of margin calls, market volatility, market stress, well, we've seen what can happen multiple times now. Not once, not twice, not thrice. I mean, many times we have seen AMC and GameStop increase hundreds of percentages, thousands of percentages. So today I went even longer with my GameStop and with my AMC and went long the call and took on some leverage in that sense. I did as well go buy some more SPY puts. I have been taking out SPY puts for the last several days. I did a bit of a straddle. I took out some SPY calls yesterday, and I was like, this is going to bite me in the ass, so I'm not going to put a lot of money into it. And I was absolutely right. There was absolutely no point in doing that, but that's okay. The profits that I've made recently in the SPY puts have been phenomenal in comparison to what little minuscule I lost on going along the call. And that was just more of a contrarian effort, when a lot of people start to, let's put it this way, capitulation hasn't even happened yet. The VIX did not even break 30 yesterday. And for the market to be down 5% yesterday and the VIX to still be sub 30, gee, I can't even remember the last time that happened, folks. That is a huge deal. Because that is extremely, extremely unlikely. And the only way that happens is if it is a controlled sell-off by these firms, by these hedge funds, by these market makers. And they were doing so with the understanding that they have to close a lot of their long positions on the MAG7 because they are over-leveraged in those long positions, and they have to maintain a certain cash collateral and certain cash positions. And it's kind of like a race out the door. It's the first ones to leave. So it is official now, ladies and gentlemen. The U.S. stock market has now lost over $10 trillion since Donald Trump took office. And guess what? 87% of the entire stock market is owned by the top 7%. The top 7% in the world own 87% of all stocks in the United States stock market. So the richest people in the world, the globalists, the deep state, the ones that pay mainstream media to push their narrative are the same ones that own the majority of stocks. They're the same ones out there telling you that Donald Trump is evil, that prices are going to go up, that they're doing everything they can that he's doing something to hurt the American people. But the reality is that for the first time in my entire life, for the first time in my entire fucking life, there is a president that is putting the 99% above the 1%, and they fucking hate it. So you can like Trump, you can hate Trump, I don't really give a shit. The fact of the matter is that the majority of Americans voted for the man, and this is what we voted for. This is what I voted for. This correction here has been a long time coming. And this is the end of the free Biden money era for the richest fucks in the world. This is exactly what we needed to see, and I could not be happier. So I am exactly where I expect to be right about now. And this is very bullish in my opinion. And yes, I know it may be counterintuitive for me to be saying, hey, precious metals are going down right now. But the fact is that when markets crash, when markets correct, precious metals at first follow the market and then usually recover much more quickly than the market. So they are a much safer asset, in my opinion, a much better safe haven. This is not financial advice of any sort, than being in cash or being in bonds or being in blue chip stocks. So again, GameStop. The amount of call volume going into GameStop right now is huge, folks, huge. The puts are closing out. Ryan Cohen increased his position in GameStop yesterday. We got the filing by quite a lot. And we are now seeing countries capitulate to the United States. We have seen Vietnam, Cambodia, many already starting to cut their tariffs to the United States. And this is, of course, bullish. This is a good thing for all of us here in the States. And today, the VIX finally hit 45. The VIX hit 45 today and also was crushed as well, as much as possible. Because the reality of the fact is that when you have 9.5% down on the stock market in 2 days, that's QE time for the Federal Reserve. That is hundreds of billions of dollars in bailouts, and that is hundreds of billions of dollars in repo market loans to the banks. So in this point, I would like to say a huge thank you. Thank you, Donald Trump. Thank you, Scott Bessent. And hopefully we can also be thanking Paul Atkins here in the coming weeks. Yes, Paul Andrew, I'm pretty sure you're correct there. Ryan Cohen did increase, I believe, several hundreds of thousands of shares. Yeah, and people are getting a little concerned about the gold sell-off and the silver sell-off, but they're still up, 6% for the month. At least gold is, that's for sure. And the S&P right now is attempting a rally into the final 30 minutes of the trading, currently around 513, being down as low as 507 on the SPY not too long ago. Very, very good to see, looking at my chart right now. And this has been the worst day for defense stocks since March of 2020. What does that tell you, folks? The 10-year Treasury yield rate is 15 basis points off of its morning low. That is definitely looking good for not the world's richest people, let's put it that way. Cheers, folks. I got to go pick up my kid from school. I've been really busy working on XCHANGE with the development team and the engineering team. So I apologize, folks. We're doing a lot of QA testing right now, a lot of innovations, a lot of work with the artificial intelligence. And it has been really, I've been working like crazy long hours on that. So I apologize, I haven't done very many live streams. So when I get a chance, I just do these kind of shorter streams just to keep you guys posted and updated here. And I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not going anywhere. Markets are doing exactly what I had hoped. Even stocks out there like GameStop and AMC, one is up, the other one is down, are doing about what I expected. And they usually, remember, and they're running separately. They're running separately right now. GameStop is running inverse to the market. AMC is running with the market. But as we've seen, due to the derivatives baskets of GameStop, the derivatives baskets held with stocks like GameStop and AMC and costs and etc. When one runs, there's volatility in all, volume increases in all, and the entire basket starts to go nuts. King Louis, when did I say I'm not bullish on GME and AMC? I'm absolutely bullish on them both, my friend. I said at the beginning of this live stream, in case you didn't see it, I am long the call and long on both stocks, GameStop and AMC. Cheers, my friends. Got to go. Have a great one. Oh, before I go for the weekend, we're going to be so fucking rich.